Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I've got a pile of vintage Bronze Age early 1970s DC big thick 100-page giants, and I've been picking a few of these up over the last sort of year or two, and I wanted to get them into really nice sort of Mylar sleeves or Mylar bags. So I've got a big pile for us to go through. I'm going to weigh up the different options with these particular giants. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so the problem with these, of course, is they're just darn thickness. So here's a couple which are actually not in bags at all. And most of these I've picked up in the UK. They're not quite as expensive as perhaps they were a few years ago, which suits my pocket because I've over the years collected these on and off, and I think this run is particularly nice. I probably won't bother with the romance ones. I might just get one of each romance of the two romance titles that were released, just to sort of have an example. But I would like to get the superhero run, and thankfully they are available. So there's a couple there. A lot of my run here, that's in quite a nice sort of a Mylar bag, so it's quite nice, that one. This one's well, it's in a bit of a just an old bag, isn't it? That's a British copy there. As I said, they do, as you can see, vary quite a bit. But the way I've traditionally stored my nicer comic books and my old ones is in Mylar sleeves or my Mylar bags. This is the modern one, which I don't think I'm ever going to get an original one of that. I don't think it's really worth the money. What I'd like to do, like this for example, I've had this one for quite a while, that lovely Bernie Wrightson cover, but it's just in like a pretty, not dog ear, but a pretty, just like a resealed bag really. It's not looking the business, is it? So I've got a couple of opened ones first of all, which we could use as an experiment. So I've got some brand new boards here that I've got. These are acid-free ones. I don't chuck the old boards away which comics come in, because I think they can always be reused, even if it's just when it's sending comics in the post. I think it's definitely worth keeping them. I personally, even though the backs of these are generally illustrated, I sort of prefer them with a stiffener. You know, now this particular one has got a tiny little nick at the bottom of the spine there. Now if this was a book one, I would glue that back down, but I don't like restoring comics in any way at all, generally speaking. So I just leave that there. So the options I've got these which are My Lights. Now they might be a bit difficult to see on camera, but these come in these, the My Lights 2. These are okay for regular size comics, but I think we're going to struggle with these to fit them in. They'll fit in, but I don't think they'll fit in with boards very well. We'll just actually try one here. So if we just try a My Light, these have got the flap, you see. We'll slip the board in first of all, and the board does go in absolutely fine. Actually, this was the old board, so we don't want to be using that. I've got a brand new one here. So the board is almost like made to measure. And as I said, these are what are used by museums in actual fact, so they're quite highly regarded. But trying to fit this big thick giant in, like if you lay it flat on the surface, you know, there is a little bit of wear either side. So theoretically, this should go in okay. So let's carefully slide them in. It's going to be tight, that much is for sure. But will it lie flat? You see, that is the question. Now the board will help it lie flat. Well, that's not bad, and let's be honest, putting a comic in a Mylar makes everything look good. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's a nice hardback book, or in this case a nice 70s Bronze Age comic. However, it's all right, and I know over time it will just lie super flat. But historically, I've actually put my comics in Mylar sleeves. Now, back in the days when with my business partner Jules, we used to have a shop. We used to get our sleeves from Justin Ebbs, and he had a range called Collector Line. And I think you can still buy these online, but I've got sort of two different sorts here. One sort, it's the same material, but it's got a flap on. And then the ones we used to get from Justin were these ones here, which were like just across the edges there. So these aren't brand new, but because of the nature of the material that they're made of, they shouldn't age because they're archival quality. Now I believe that the ones with no flap at all are slightly more generous, and I think they're the ones I'm probably going to need to use to put my 100-page giants in. See, that for me, there's far less strain on the comic now than when it was in the comic bag, and I feel really quite happy with that one, that it's not being like pushed or damaged, and it's not, it lies flat naturally rather than it like needing to be quite tight. So what I think I'm do, I'm going to use my lights on my run of original Marvel Star Wars, which are all very thin comics. There's a few annuals but not many, and I'm going to swap them out. So I'm going to take the sleeves off my my old Star Wars comics and put them on these 100-page giants, because I think they need the space to breathe. And let's be honest, they look flipping brilliant, don't they? They really do. So let's slide that one over there and do the next one, which is Superboy, DC number 21. Great cover. I'm looking forward, once I've got the full run of these, and I'm not that far off, I only need a handful, I shall do a little dedicated video showing the whole of the original DC 100-page super spectacular run. It might take me a little bit longer to get the rest of them. As I said, I'm not going to bother with the romance ones, maybe just an odd one of each, but that'll be it. See, for me, getting these in and out, this is the way to have them. I just get them sort of squared up. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way I'm going to keep mine anyway. I think they're lovely. Now, this one, of course, is an expensive book. It was the very first 100-page super spectacular. But look at the state of the old bag it was in. It's pretty horrible, wasn't it, you know? On reflection, and now that I've got a little pipeline from America where, because most of these I bought from the UK, including this one, but I have got a friend in America who's happy to buy books on my behalf and then just send them over. And on the whole, the books are much better quality for about the same amount of money if you can buy them from America. So that's what I shall probably try and do on some of the key books that I'm not finding locally. Thankfully, I have found some in the UK that have been beautiful condition, so I'm not going to sort of complain about those. So this one should slide in quite nicely, and it'll put a bit of shine on what is quite a matte copy of this one, because it's you know, very much like a VG at best, isn't it, this one? But there we are, the very first one, 1971. They don't really know what happened with numbers 1, 2 and 3, and the people who would have made those sort of decisions back in the day at DC, they're all now passed away, and that's sort of lost in the midst of time, unfortunately. Now, one of the things I do love Sergeant Rock, but there was no way in a million years I was ever going to be able to collect Our Army at War or the Sergeant Rock comic. There's just too many of them, and to be honest, the 80-page giants, which we'll get to another day, because I certainly love those as well, these do reprint the very best of them, and this is one of the later ones here, but they've got classic stories in them, and when we go through these in detail, I'll tell you where the actual stories came from originally, and things to look out for as well. But we'll certainly take our time and really sort of devour these. So if you're looking forward to those sorts of videos, give me a shout, because if there's an interest, I'll definitely go through these in a lot more detail, and we'll look at some of the classic stories. Now, when I pulled out a few of these sleeves from my Star Wars comics, I did notice that although these ones here, these are the old Justin Ebbs collector line ones, these are really easy to get in and they fit in the bags really easily. I've got these other ones which have got tabs on, so I'm going to try one now with the tab on and see how we get on. In fact, I think all the ones I've got left are the ones with tabs, so I'm not sure if these are going to be such a generous fit, as it were. I think these are going to prove to be a little bit more snug, so we'll see though. So this one here I got from the UK, and it's a really nice copy of DC 15, the Superboy issue. Now you see that board there, I mean it's hard to tell, but that's a really nice acid-free board, and that one potentially is perhaps a bit of an imposter, or it's just one that's aged a bit. But yeah, this one was from the UK, from a UK dealer, and maybe they imported it themselves, which is a lovely high-grade copy, that, isn't it? I mean, that is really good. It's probably only been read maybe once very carefully, so I grade that at least a very fine, I would think, you know. Finding these books in tip-top condition is super difficult. I mean, it really is, and there are graded ones around there though, but they do tend to fetch a few pounds. So these, I think, are the Ernie Gerber Mylar sleeves, and they're much more rigid than the collector line ones, and I'm hoping they're not going to be too tight for my books. I'm hoping they'll just slide in, and I can already see they're not. Look at that, they're too tight. So I'm not going to force the issue, because I know in my collection I have a huge run still of the Justin Ebbs collector line ones. However, this one is a little bit thinner, so we will be able to get this one in, because it's just a modern reprint, but I'm not going to put any more in the tighter sleeves, because, well, they're just too tight. So, but this is a replica of the, they say it's perhaps the rarest of all Bronze Age comics now, this one. Certainly the most valuable. But this should fit in absolutely fine, because it's much thinner. So, let's get this one out of the way a moment, like that. I'm going to get it to the bottom of the bag. There we are. Even that, you know, feels like it's riding up a little bit, but it does actually fit quite nicely, quite snugly, that one. And that's really nice. But you see what I mean? It just doesn't. It's like perhaps the bag itself needs a little bit of training because of what's been in it before. But I think before I do any more, before I do the rest of this pile, I'm going to. In fact, I'm not happy with that. It's just not lying right. I think what I'm going to do is get the collector line ones. They're just a little bit more generous with regards to that. And if anyone, while we're here, so the bags are my lights 2s. Which ones then are the equivalent? It's like these sleeves, but which ones do we want which are a bit more generous? Do we want the Golden Age ones to fit Golden Age comics? I think we probably do with these giants, don't we? Anyway, I shall be back in a moment with a few more of the slightly more generous sleeves. Okay, so faster than a speeding bullet, I've now nipped upstairs and gone and raided some more of my vintage Star Wars comics, and I found another 10 or so which are the more generous Mylar sleeves. These are the collector line ones, and these are the ones we sold in the shop, and boy, I wish I had a few more of these because they're fantastic. Really good, and this is after 20-30 years. These are just perfect, and boy oh boy do they make a book look great, don't they? So got my fresh backing boards here as well, and these just go in without any resistance at all. And that's exactly what we're looking for. But I'm going to put it out to you. What can I buy? What's the name of the Mylar product, which is this sort of thickness, so that these big 100-page books can slide in and out? Over to you guys, and obviously leave your answer in the comments below so I can check them out, because I want them to be nice and generous. My suspicion is, I mean, they're virtually Golden Age, certainly not Silver Age, I wouldn't have thought, because I don't think the Silver Age ones are big enough, but bearing in mind they need to snugly fit 80 and 100-page giants. That's what I'm really looking for. So look at this one here, look, a really old bag. Goodness knows how long it's been in this one. Now this is another key book. It's quite expensive, and on reflection, looking at some of the other ones that I've got, I'm a little disappointed with its condition, but it is, you know, it's a book that sells for a lot of money. It's eminently readable, still a collectible copy, and it's got plenty of eye appeal there. We can really enjoy that fantastic cover there. Really great book indeed, this one. So let's just see. In the flesh, perhaps it's showing its age a little bit and it's looking a little bit rough, but with a brand new backing board and slide it into a Mylar sleeve, we shall transform this slightly tired book into one that looks, well, not quite $1 million, but near $1 million. Just look at that. That's lovely. And I am half tempted to leave these without the boards, just so that you could admire the backs, but I think that's a treat that I'd like to do when I actually sit down and read these. Now this is obviously a British one. Look, it's got 12.5p sticker there. Once again, a really old sort of scabby bag there, self-sealer bag, these one. So we get a shot of that one. There we are, very, very nice, classic Superman reprints. And if you want to read Golden Age stories and early Silver Age in comic book form without spending all the dough to get the originals, this is a very, very good way of doing it. And they do tend to pick, thankfully the editors do pick the better comics, the better stories, you know, to reprint. They don't just reprint any old rubbish, which is quite a good way of doing it, you know. That's why, like the Sergeant Rock ones, I think are so appealing, because if you don't have a run of Sergeant Rock, well, at least if by collecting the 80 and 100 page giants, you're going to get the sort of the cream of the Sergeant Rock titles. There we are. Very, very nice. Okay, so just a few to do now. This is a great one. It's a Batman. Very, very nice cover on that one. A lot of these are wraparound, like so. Once again, one of the more expensive ones, but if I'd have been collecting, if I'd been looking for a copy of this in like today's world, I would have probably, for what I paid for this, which I don't think was maybe about £20, something like that, £20, £25, I probably could have got something even sharper from America. This is unstamped, so it's a lower grade one, probably an import from the States, but I'm not minding too much. As I said, even though the book is in effect, you know, a bit lower grade than I would perhaps like, I'm prepared to do that with some of these, and certainly on the 80 pages I'm going to have to compromise. I'm not going to be able to buy them all in super top shape. Some will be better than others, but that's not too bad. It's got a little sticker tear removal there, but still a very, very nice comic. A couple more to do. So we got Army at War. There. Get rid of that board and pop a new one in. So once again, this is a British one. It's got the Thorpe and Porter TMP 15p, lovely Joe Kubert cover. There we are. Yeah, great way to read some classic military action here. It really, really is. And let's slide this one into a sleeve like so. That's another reason why you don't want your bags too tight. You want to be able to get the books out to give them a read, because I certainly will be reading mine, you know. Very, very nice. And then we got the last one, which is DC 10. It's Adventure Comics 416. Very, very nice copy of this one. However, I noticed that the baggers, when they bagged it, look, they folded over that bottom corner. See, and that is the fatal thing. If you're not careful, you're going to get these little things happen. So I need to be super careful. And that wasn't me. This is the first time I've looked at this one. And that was just how it was bought. As I said, it's not the end of the world. Overall, it's got absolutely fine eye appeal. And look at that. The super ladies along the bottom there. Superb, with a lovely back curl. Fantastic. Let's have a look at the back cover while we're here. Yes. A supersized collection of DC's fighting females. What more could you want? Let's be honest. Now I just need to be super careful with that corner there. So here's a test live on film. It should be all right as long as I get the first bit in. Okay, there we are. So see, it's pushed down like that. So we should be all right. With a little bit of luck. There's a little nick there. There we are. Is that all flat? I think it is. Yeah. So we've just folded that corner back over, which is absolutely fine. There we are. So let's have one last little look at these, and I think you'll agree the difference is really quite amazing, isn't it? And I think this is the way I'm going to do all my giants going forward. It's like this, because they just look so darn good. I've just got a few more to collect. But when I've finished this one, definitely I've got all the issues of the original run of 100-page Super Spectaculars, the numbered run. I'll definitely do a dedicated video on these. So treat this one as a bit of a teaser of what will be to come. Great stuff. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed that little look through my current collection of DC 100-page Super Spectaculars, and the way I have now settled on, I'm going to be bagging these going forward in these lovely Mylar sleeves. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage comic book action, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.